True Sports episode 85 is on. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenor. Well, Steelers finally beat the Raiders in Las
Thank
Vegas. This
goodness.
except it was in Las Vegas, not Oakland.
Right.
But either way, the Steelers beat the Raiders on the road anyway, and that they had to overcome a little bit of one-sided ref ball.
Right.
Yeah, couple bad calls that went against the bad penalty flags that went against the Steelers that were not accurate, but the Steelers still held on.
Yeah, thankfully. I mean, it's always been a classic matchup, Steelers and Raiders. And, I was hoping the Steelers going to pull out this one. And and they did. And it helps, them in the season. I mean, they've had a couple of down years, so maybe now this will, spark things up and bring out those terrible towels.
Yeah, they were there in Vegas. They stole the show.
Yeah.
So, how about the Miami Dolphins putting up 70 points against the Denver
Yeah.
Broncos?
Worst game, probably the ridiculous game of the week, and probably the ridiculous game of the last 50 years. I mean, this is just insane.
Den-
70 points.
the Denver Broncos have actually given up 73 points over a decade ago against the Lions.
Yeah, I remember that. And to think this wasn't even a record. They fell just short of the record. But the 60 or the 66 then called Redskins.
Yeah.
Yeah, 73 to nothing. Of course, I
Yep.
wasn't alive to see it, but I heard about it.
Yep. The Chiefs doing their thing,
Yeah,
kicking Chicago bare ass, 41-7.
41-10.
Would have been. Yeah, but still, it was a rout either way.
I know. My brother hates the idea. Too bad.
Yeah. And my Lions, they finally cleaned up their defense. They won 20-6 over the Atlanta Falcons. They held the Falcons to just 2 field goals.
Falcons. I knew the Falcons weren't going to win that game. I mean, their offense is pathetic. Their defense is much better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the Lions' defense, they're just too ferocious out there. With Aiden Hutchinson,
Yeah,
he got a sack, and he forced a fumble, and he recovered a lost fumble.
yeah. They have
Sam
that.
La,
I mean,
tight end Sam Laporta, his first career touchdown. Brian Branch with a pass breakup. Jerry Jacobs with a pass breakup, although he still sucks anyway. Other than that,
yes, he does. I mean, the Falcons have not been the same since they lost the Super Bowl. That team shall be nameless, and they have not been able to recruit since.
yep. Atlanta was 2-0 going into our game, coming into our state, coming into our Ford Field.
Yeah, and then this happened.
Yeah, just 6 points. Oh, you thought the
Points.
Falcons offense is going to be bad. It just gotten even worse. The
Yes,
Lions the Lions defense exposed the hell out of them.
I knew it was happening sooner or later. To be honest, I did not see that team, getting like a 4 or 5 game win streak. I knew it
Yeah,
was gonna happen soon.
yeah. A little side note on the Chiefs game. Taylor Swift made her appearance. She was cheering
Oh
on
yeah.
them, especially Travis Kelsey.
Uh huh.
Yeah, and she has every right to. Yeah, and
I know.
Brooke Fletcher considered Taylor Swift a sports girl now on Twitter,
Hmm.
and I have to agree with that.
Okay, I just didn't picture it, but okay, I'll buy that. Oh
Well,
boy.
she's only
I
getting
know.
Swift's only getting started on it. So
Right. Just let's
I
hope that Travis Kelce doesn't make the same mistake as it did with, Tony Romo when Carrie Underwood was at the game. We don't have more of that, right? Right.
oh yeah
I don't want a repeat of that. Hey, Travis. Oh, hey Taylor, how you doing? I'll be with you in a minute. Oh, I just coughed up the ball. Yeah, there you go. Now Tony Romo.
Well, he scored a touchdown. Travis Kelsey was just focusing on his game.
Good. That's what you should do. Forget about your girlfriend.
Well, well, here's the thing. They Taylor Swift was only watching the game for fun. She was just becoming a fan of
Okay.
them. Not she didn't have any personal mutual
Okay.
friendships with any of the players. No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
So it's not the same as the Tony Romo.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Good. I just want to see a repeat of that on down the road. Yeah, it could happen.
I know. I get your drift.
Yeah. Oh, great. I got watch you playing a love story on my keyboard tomorrow. Oh, great. Here we go.
Yep. So the Bears and Vikings are both winless. The Chargers picked up a victory in Minnesota.
Hmm.
28-24. They just barely held on.
Yeah. Tight game.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a tight one.
With the exception of Miami, which was like, I mean, I, I did not expect that. I mean, maybe like 35-20, or maybe
The
28-10,
Dol-
but
the
70, but
Dolphins
72 points. Yeah, but 72
S-
points,
70 points. 70-20.
70 points. That's that. I have never seen a score that high.
I've seen 73-7. Lions over the Broncos.
Oh boy.
But that was over a decade ago, to be honest.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think the game was televised in my area that day though. Thankfully.
yep. Well, my Tigers blanked the A's 2-0, and the rest of the MLB you'll start off with in your True Sports Report. Go ahead.
And so we shall. All right. Well, it's just a week to go until the end of the regular season. And for you Yankee fans, just myself, I hate to say it, but it's over. It ended this afternoon. I'll get to that in a little while. Meantime, the Blue Jays beat the Rays 9-5. Richards got the win. Bradley got the loss. The D-backs over the Yankees 7-1 in a miserable day at Yankee Stadium. Someone Galen got the win. Rodon got the loss. In game one of a doubleheader, the Nationals beat the Braves in game one 3-2. Rutledge got the win. Wyans got the loss, and Finnegan got the save. In 6 innings, the White Sox over the Red Sox 3-2. Clevenger got the win, and Crawford got the loss. The Orioles over the Guardians 5-1. Gibson got the win. McKenzie got the loss. The Marlins over the Brewers 6-1. Cabrera got the win, and Petrella got the loss. The Reds over the Pirates 4-2. Sims got the win. Hernandez got the loss, and Ginbach got the save. Twins over the Angels 9-3. Ryan got the win, and Fulmer got the loss. The Royals over the Astros 6-5. Marsh got the win. Brown got the loss, and MacArthur got the save. Cubs over the Rockies 4-3. Wicks got the win. Blatch got the loss, and Merriweather got the save. Rangers edged the Mariners 9-8. Evaldi got the win. Wu got the loss, and Leclerc got the save. As we mentioned, Tigers over the A's 2-0. Erod got the win. Sears got the loss, and Lang got the save. Notice I said Erod. Padres,
Tiger should have swept them in 4 games.
yeah. Padres over the Cardinals 12-2. Waka got the win, and Rom got the loss. Phillies over the Mets 5-2. Sanchez got the win. Bato got the loss, and Lorenz got the save. In game two, The Braves over the Nationals 8-5. That was a makeup game from yesterday. Strider got the win. Adon got the loss. And finally, in 10 innings, the Dodgers over the Giants 3-2. Miller got the win. Duvall got the loss. Okay, so now we go to the standings, and it goes like this. It'll clear. There we go. All right. In the American League East, the Orioles 97-59, 2.5 ahead of the Rays at 95-62, but don't count them out yet. Blue Jays 87-69, 10 back, and the Yankees have now been eliminated as they're now 78-77, 18.5 back, and the Red Sox 21 back at 78-80. To the Central, the Twins are 83-73, the only winning team in the division. The Guardians are 74-83, 9.5 back. The Tigers 10 back at 73-83. The White Sox 60-96, 23 back, and the Royals 54-102, 29 back. In the Wild Wild West, oh, it's wild, all right. Rangers are 87-68, have a 2.5 game lead over the Astros at 85-71, and right behind them are the Mariners at 84-71, 3 games back. Angels eliminated at 70-88, 17.5 back, and the A's, whose season was over in the second week of the year, are 48-108, 39.5 back. Yes. To the National League, the Braves, 100 wins. It's a 100-win season. 156, 13 ahead of the Phillies at 87-69. The Marlins are 19 back at 81-75. 81-75. The Mets 71-85, 29 back. Ugh. And the Nationals 69-88, 31.5 back. I know a lot of Met fans, and they are not happy at all. Okay, the Central, the Brewers 88-68, 6 games ahead of the Cubs at 82-74. The Reds 80-77, 8.5 back. Pirates 74-82, 14 back, eliminated, as well as the Cardinals being eliminated at 68 and 88, 20 back. And finally in the West, the Dodgers are running away with the West at 96-59, 14 ahead of the D-backs at 82-73, though still respectable. Padres 77-79, as well as the Giants 77-79, 19.5 back, and the Rockies 40 back at 56-99. Wow. All right, so we'll check the schedule tomorrow, and it's a light schedule. Then again, Monday usually is light, but this is as light as I think it's been on a Monday in a long time. One makeup game tomorrow. That is the D-backs versus the Yankees at 105. I don't know why they didn't play a doubleheader today. They just do it on Monday. And it's the last home game of the season for the Yankees. 9:38, the Rangers take on the Angels. 9:40, the Astros take on the Mariners. At 9:45, the Padres take on the Giants. Okay, and all games are done at this point of the day. Yeah, I just wonder why they didn't do a doubleheader today. Well, then again, it was a nasty day anyway. All right, on to the NFL. The Browns over the Titans, 27-3. Watson had 289 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Strong had 27 yards on 6 carries, and Cooper had 116 receiving yards and a touchdown. Lions over the Falcons, 20-6. Goff had 243 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Gibbs had
1 interception?
just
I
1.
missed it.
Gibbs had 80 receiving yards and 17 carries, rushing yards that is, and Brown had 102 receiving yards. Packers over the Saints, 18-17, a wild game. Jordan Love, 259 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also had 39 rushing yards on 9 carries and a touchdown, and Olave had 101 receiving yards. In will be considered a comedy of errors for the Broncos today. The Dolphins just mopped the floor with them 70-20. Tagliavada had 309 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Ackney, 203 rushing yards on 18 carries and 2 touchdowns. And Hill had 157 receiving yards and a touchdown. In a more decent game, the Chargers over the Vikings 28-24, more respectable. Herbert had 405 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Mattson had 93 rushing yards on 20 carries, and Allen had 215 receiving yards. Patriots over the Jets 15-10. Jones had 201 passing yards and a touchdown. Elliott had 80 rushing yards on 16 carries, and Brown had 71 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Bills over the Commanders 37-3. Sorry, Steve. Jared Allen had 218 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Cook had 98 rushing yards and 15 carries, and Diggs had 111 receiving yards. Texans over the Jaguars 37-17. Stroud had 280 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Etienne Jr., 88 rushing yards, 19 carries, and Dell had 145 receiving yards and a touchdown. Duty, God, Dell. Colts over the Ravens in overtime, 22-19. Gardner Minshew had 227 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Zach Moss had 122 rushing yards on 30 carries, and Michael Pittman Jr. had 77 receiving yards. Seahawks over the Panthers, 37-27. Yep. Andy Dalton had 361 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Walker had 97 rushing yards on 18 carries and 2 touchdowns. And Thielen had 145 receiving yards and a touchdown. Chiefs over the Bears, 41-10. Patrick Mahomes, 272 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Pacheco had 62 rushing yards on 15 carries and a touchdown. And Travis Kelce had 68 receiving yards and a touchdown.
Total mismatch.
Yep, like I pictured, because I never win with the Bears anyway. Cardinals over the Cowboys, 20-16. Despite the loss, Dak Prescott had a decent performance at 248 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Pollard had 122 rushing yards on 23 carries, and Gallup 92 receiving yards. And finally, the Steelers over the Raiders, 23-18. Jimmy G, 324 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions, wow. Najee Harris, 85 rushing yards on 19 carries, and Adams had 172 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, so we'll check tomorrow's games. We got 2 games on the schedule. First up is the Eagles taking on the Buccaneers at 7:15. That's ABC. And at 8:15, the Rams take on the Bengals. Should be an interesting game. I wonder why the ABC game is first. It's kind of interesting. I thought maybe they had the later game. Yeah, we'll do the standings next week as we go into week 4. All right, so let's turn to the ice as we dive into preseason hockey. The regular season begins on October 10th with triple header on ESPN. So it goes down like this: the Penguins over the Blue Jackets 3-2 in a shootout. The Sabres over the Capitals 4-3 in a shootout. The Senators over the Maple Leafs 3-2. The Wild over the Avalanche 4-3. Bruins over the Rangers 3-0. Yeah. Stars had a field day with the Coyotes 7-0. The Jets beat the Oilers in a shootout 2-1. The Blue Jackets over the Penguins 4-3 in overtime. the Ducks over the Kings 3-2 in overtime. And here's a laugher for you. The Flames blasted the Canucks 10-0. I know it's only preseason, but oh my goodness. And the Sharks over the Golden Knights 5-2. I believe there is some games tomorrow, so I'll just check that just to make sure. There should be. Yes, there are. 2 o'clock tomorrow, the Predators take on the Panthers, and they'll also do it again at 8 o'clock. Split squad games, of course. Also, split squads are the Devils and Carolina of the Canadiens at 7, and the Flyers will take on the Devils also at 7. The Devils and Canadiens game we play at the Bell Center at Montreal, and the Devils and the Flyers will take place at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Also, 7 o'clock, the Senators take on the Maple Leafs in Scotiabank in Toronto. Oilers take on the Jets at 8. The Knights take on the Avalanche at 9, as well as the Kraken and the Flames. That'll be in Calgary, Alberta. And the 10 o'clock with the Flames and the Kraken play at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. Climate control. All right. So now we get to the news headlines of the day. And they go like this. And like I said, the Blue Jays, they're the ones that ended the Yankees' hopes to go to the playoffs. Oh, boy. All right. I thought I hate always to start on a tragic note, but it must be told. Former Anaheim Ducks forward Nick Curtis passed away yesterday after a motorcycle crash in Nashville. He was just 29. Curtis drove his motorcycle through a stop sign yesterday and hit the driver's side of an SUV, that according to the Nashville Metro Police Department. The driver of the SUV then stopped. There were no signs of impairments by either the driver, the police said. Curtis died at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Police are not anticipating any charges in the crash. Curtis was drafted by the Ducks in 2012, but only played 3 games in a combined 2 seasons from 2016 to 2018. He was then traded to the Winnipeg Jets and played for the Manitoba Moose, which I believe was in the AHL. What a shame. In a motorcycle accident, too. I don't know if we covered this last night, not but the the Ottawa Senators have been sold. Well, it's about time. Okay, just gotta turn to women's soccer for a minute because after a career filled with memorable U.S. Wins by the U.S. soccer team and World Cup champion Megan Rapinoe ended her career on a winning note in a 2-0 win over South Africa in a friendly. She ends her historic career with 63 goals and 73 assists and was honored before the game and taking the first pitch at Soldier Field in Chicago to help her team to victory. She said it was an honor to wear the shirt, and who also won the Golden Boot Award in the 2019 World Cup. Trinity Rodman, daughter of former NBA star Dennis Rodman, opened up the scoring. Then Rapinoe sealed the victory with a corner kick to seal the win for the U.S. Oh, congratulations. All right, moving on to other news. As we mentioned in that shellacking by Miami, Dolphins running back Devontae Acme had a career day as they crushed the Broncos 70-20. Acme compiled for 223 yards and 4 touchdowns, including 203 yards and 18 carries. After the game, he was asked if he had more total yards or notifications on his cell phone. Probably more total yards. In one of the most lopsided games in NFL history, the Dolphins put up 726 yards as the league's best offense went nuts in the home opener. The point total set a new franchise record and the most points overall since the 1966, when the Redskins scored 72 points against the New York Giants. In total, The Dolphins recorded nearly as many rushing yards with 350 and passing yards with 376, averaging 10.2 yards per carry in the process. The Dolphins are the first team to record 5 passing touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns in the same game, and is the first team to record 700 yards on offense since the 1951 Rams. And if that wasn't enough, they were also the first team in history to record 70 points on 700 yards on offense. Oh, and only the second team ever to record 300 rushing yards and 300 passing yards. So that was quite a day. I wish this. Okay, moving on. Saints quarterback Derek Carr was ruled out in the fourth quarter with a shoulder injury in a loss to the Packers. Coach Dennis Allen said after the game that he was getting his right shoulder evaluated at a local hospital, but did not provide any other details. Backup quarterback Jameis Winston, who took over for Carr, left the game. The Saints were up 17-0 when Carr left, but then the Saints gave 18 points and lost 18-17. What a way to lose. Carr landed on his shoulder following a sack that occurred on 3rd and 9 with 10:51 to go in the third quarter, and remained on the ground for a few minutes until he was attended by trainers before being able to walk the field under his own power. He then went to the locker room after spending a few minutes on the injury tent where he got x-rays on his shoulder, that according to the Fox broadcast. He was listed as questionable to return shortly before he was ruled out. Before the injury, Carr was 13 of 18 with 103 yards with a touchdown. Winston took a pay cut to stay with the Saints as a backup to Carr after Carr signed a 4-year, $150 million deal in free agency. Winston began both the 2021 and 22 seasons with the intention of being a starter, but that did not come to pass. Winston's 2021 season ended after 7 games with a torn ACL. The Saints rested him 4 weeks in the 2022 season with neck and foot injuries, but never regained his starting job from Andy Dalton. To add to that, Saints guard Cesar Ruiz left the game early as he suffered a concussion and left the game early before Carr's injury. So we had a case of a double whammy. Mike Trout's season with the Angels is officially over after being placed on the 60-day injured list today. The announcement was made by manager Phil Nevin. Trout has only played in 1 game since he broke a bone in his left hand on July 3rd. He returned to the Angels lineup on August 22nd, but that was short-lived as he felt discomfort the next day. Yeah, when it rains, it pours, folks. So, to continue, he traveled to Minnesota on the team's final road trip of the season, which ended today. Trout was taking dry swings with the hopes of returning, but now has been shut down now with just a week to go in the regular season. So it's not going to matter much anyway. The move to the 60-day injured list was to make room for the contract of right-hander Carson Fulmer. Trout finishes with 18 home runs and 44 RBIs in 82 games this season. In the past 4 years, he has played in less than 300 games. And you can still keep him. It was the biggest comeback of the year in the majors last night as the Pirates beat the Reds. The Pirates overcame a 9-run deficit for the first time since they joined the league way back in the prehistoric era in 1882. Alfonso Rivera tied a career high 5 RBIs in a wild 13-12 win last night. So much for defense. There was not much to say about the game, said manager David Bell. Our players are given every ounce of energy from the time they enter spring training. That continued into tonight and will until the last pitch of the season. The Pirates came into last night's game 0 and 819 when trailing by at least 9 runs. Now that is what I call a dubious record. The Reds, which dropped 2.5 games back for the last wildcard spot in the National League, opened with a 9-0 lead with 3 runs in the first, 5 in the second, and a run in the third, before the bottom fell out and gave up an unanswered 13 runs. How do you start a game with a 9-0 lead and give up 13 runs? It's beyond me. I'm like, what? The Reds had one final attempt, but a runner was stranded on third in the bottom of the ninth. The Pirates, who had lost 4 straight games, gave up a 9-run lead for the first time since April April 2004 loss against the Brewers. This was the biggest blown lead in the majors this season, topping a 7-0 lead by the Mariners in a 14-9 loss to the Cubs back in April. Jordan Love's first start at Lambeau was to be tougher than thought. 3 members of the Packers offense were declared inactive before the start of today's opener against the Saints. Running back Aaron Jones, receiver Christian Watson, and left tackle Daniel McCurdy. In addition, left tackle Ellington Jenkins have previously been ruled out before. The Packers' defense will be shorthanded as well as top cornerback Jarny Alexander was out and added to the injury list on Friday with a back injury and was listed as questionable. Jones, Watson, and Bakhtiari were all listed as questionable heading into today's game. Jones has not played since he injured his hamstring in the opener, while Watson has not played this season due to the same injury. Bakhtiari will miss his second straight game with a chronic left knee injury. Jenkins sustained a sprained MCL in his left knee last week against the Falcons. What is this, a football team or a MASH unit? Ugh. The Braves placed right-hander Charlie Morton on the 15-day injured list with inflammation on his right index finger. The move was retroactive to yesterday, now Saturday, as Morton left Friday's game against the Nationals in the first inning. Morton walked 2 batters and left the game after just 24 pitches as he began to feel discomfort. He hopes to be back during the postseason. This is more about effectiveness, Morton said on Friday night. I can go out there and pitch. However, the next start I make will likely be made in the postseason, if I had to guess that. It's not like it's early May or August, and it's going to be the biggest game of the season. That is where the frustration comes in, and so does the question mark. In 30 starts this season, Morton is 14-12 with a 3.64 ERA and is second with the Braves in strikeouts with 183 in total. Which is not bad. And now it's not the time you want to get injured. You know, you're fighting for a postseason, and you want to get your players healthy. The Braves recall right-hander Alan Wayans from AAA Gwinnett in a corresponding move and started game 1 of today's doubleheader, which they lost the first game but won the second. Moving along. Despite the fact that the Dolphins had a near perfect game today, receiver Jaden Waddle was out for today's game against the Broncos after spending a week in concussion protocol. Waddle was listed as questionable after being eliminated in practice on Friday. He did not practice in the Dolphins' previous 2 practices. He was downgraded yesterday as the Dolphins elevated wide receiver Robbie Chosen from the practice squad. So I guess you should say he was chosen. Oh. Waddle had 4 catches for 86 yards in the Dolphins' win over the Patriots last week before a hit from Patriots linebacker Marty Mapu knocked him out of the game late in the fourth quarter. Mapu was flagged for unnecessary roughness and fined $5,620 for a helmet-to-helmet hit, sources told ESPN. Cheap shot. Chosen signed a contract with the Dolphins this offseason, but was part of the initial roster cuts in August. the Dolphins quickly signed him to the practice squad and was active today against the Broncos in a total mismatch of a game. Cubs manager David Ross reached out to Pirates manager Derek Shelton, Link's third cousin, on Friday night after the Pittsburgh skipper took exception to Ross and his description of the Pirates. The contending Cubs dropped 2 of 3 in a series against the Pirates. Following the Pirates' win on Thursday against the Cubs, Ross said, "That's not a good team that took two out of 3 games from us, or it's not our caliber. It's not our caliber team." I believe. I believe Shelton called the comment from Ross unfortunate. "I texted Shelton after the game," he said. "I was just frustrated after the game." Ross told reporters before the game on Saturday night. "I have a ton of respect for every team, not just the Pirates. Every team can win. I thought I corrected myself with the context of talking to you guys. The Cowboys went 10-3 against the Pirates this season and outscored them 101-49. Ross said he was talking more about how his team played against the Pirates this year. "I thought Derek and his crew did a really good job," said Ross. "Part of this job is to not going to be perfect in these meetings, and sometimes after a game post game, you're going to end up saying things you shouldn't have said." Well, haven't we all done that? I mean, really, guys. Okay, defending NL Cy Young winner Sandy Alcantara's recent rehab setback has put an end to his season and raised concerns about his availability to pitch for the Marlins next season. The Marlins ace experienced forearm tightness following his outing at AAA Nashville on Thursday. Alcantara was rehabbing from a forearm flexor strain that sent him to the injured list on September the 6th. He had hoped to rejoin the team as they fight for a wild card spot. "It's very frustrating for me," Alcantara told reporters before facing the Brewers Saturday night. "I feel sorry for the fans, my family, and friends because I won't be playing for the rest of the year. Just try to be ready for next year. I don't know. I'll just have to stay positive." Alcantara says he plans to meet with general manager Kim Neg and manager Skip Schumacher in the next few days to determine his next step. Alcantara completed 4 innings for his rehab start in Jacksonville. The Jacksonville appearance followed pain-free throwing sessions and bullpen sessions. He had a 14-9 record with an ERA of 2.88 while leading the majors in innings pitched with 228 and 3 complete games, and became the first Marlins pitcher to win the Cy Young Award last season. This season, it's a far cry from that, as he is 7-12 with a 4.14 ERA and experienced discomfort after a strike against the Nationals on September 3rd. Cy Young for the first time in his career with an arm-related injury. The Marlins, Cubs, and Reds are in contention for the final wildcard spot in the National League. And the clock is ticking. Mookie Betts hit a 2-run double in the 8th, giving the Dodgers outfielder 105 RBIs in the season, the most ever by a lead-off hitter. During a 7-0 victory over the Giants, Betts doubled the center off the Giants' Ross Stripling, scoring both Austin Barnes and Dave Perella, that extending the Dodgers' lead to 7 runs. Betts also doubled in the 7th and walked twice for the NL Division champions. Entering the game, Betts was tied with Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies with 103 RBIs. There are a lot of great off-lead hitters, and for me to be number one is remarkable. Said manager Dave Roberts. "It seems like every game we are collecting personal milestones as individuals. The Dodgers clinched their first run bye with the victory and got their 95th win of the season and their 15th shutout win. Only the Mariners have more shutout wins with 16. And get there still fighting for a wild card spot. Go figure." And yeah, I think we have covered all. So I'll just turn it back over to you.
All right. So I was watching that that Jared Goff pass to Sam Laporta. He was wide open for his first career touchdown catch. That was
Yeah,
just a beautiful rainbow pass. I could watch that over and over again. He was wide open, but
yeah,
man, that was yeah. Jared Goff had a behind the scenes conversation with Aiden Hutchinson.
yes,
Aiden Hutchinson told Jared Goff that he thought that Laporta was going to drop it, but because that thing, and he said that thing was hanging like 15 seconds in the air and says, "Please calm down."
yeah,
But he caught it. It was just so easy for Laporta to catch. Aiden, come on.
yes, it was. I think it was probably too easy. Oh, just one more thing before I go. I know we don't really cover this much, but it is postseason WNBA. And if you're a Liberty fan, well, I'm sorry, but they were stunned by a loss to the Connecticut Sun, 70-63. I don't believe it myself. And the Vegas Knights, who of course are the powerhouse in the league all year, beat up on the Dallas Wings 97-83. Both are 1-0 in the series, and this series is the best of five.
All right.
Okay,
So that's True Sports episode 85. True Sports 86. True Sports episode 86, I believe. Probably Wednesday or something like that because Thursday
all
I
right.
get to sleep in. So either Monday or Tuesday, I'm on my other Michigan Sports Truth podcast. Lewis, I'll see you Wednesday night at 11.
You got it. You got it. Thanks a lot.
Till
Good night,
ta.
folks.